That just buzzed.
Yeah, you got a red light? Yeah,
He's got a red
And a
light.
red and a green.
Yep, red and a green.
Sweet. So we are live and rolling. And I said to her, I'm like, my first question for you is how many people destroy your last name?
Yeah,
A lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people. So people, when they look at it, it's Maciol. For some reason, I don't know if it's because I just thought I was dealing with people that I don't know what the term is, but they want to say Maciol. It's not O-I-L like
Right.
oil.
It's I-O. Like that's
I-O-L, not
Right.
O-I-L.
It's
So it's
Maciol.
Maciol.
Correct.
Tell everybody the easiest way to remember it rhymes with facial.
Yep.
Okay.
That worked.
Okay.
But it's a Polish name.
Yeah.
In Polish, the L is actually silent.
Okay.
So it's pronounced macho in Polish.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Now we all know.
Well,
for
I'm
sure.
just going to literally start rolling because that's what we try to do is just keep it authentic and real. And, but yeah, no, I appreciate you allowing this to be an
Absolutely.
opportunity, man. This is really cool.
Yep.
I've only done, this will be my second podcast. I did
Okay.
one with Dr. Mark Montgomery. I don't know if you know Mark.
Okay. I don't. No.
He does podcasting all the time.
Cool.
And he did a podcast with me and the mayor of Utica, former mayor of Utica, Rob Palmieri,
Okay.
because we're arch enemies. We're
Yeah.
actually very good friends, but
Yeah.
we're very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So Mark does
nothing wrong with that.
the whole wide, similar to what you're doing. He covers all kinds of topics.
Yeah.
Cool.
Are we recording now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
We're going
cool.
live,
Okay.
man. I just
All
might
right.
as well.
Yeah.
So he does all kinds of different topics like you're doing, and he just wanted to bring us together because
Okay.
we do a lot of and when he was the mayor, we did a lot of fundraising events for the community.
Yeah.
We had a Cops versus Celebrities basketball game for
Oh, sweet.
years.
Cool.
That would be fun.
And we raised money for Joseph's Experience. Originally, it was called Montgomery Experience, Kids with Cancer.
Yeah.
And Dr. Montgomery started that foundation, gosh, a long time ago. But it was it came a long way. We do a basketball game every year, and
Yep.
and Palmieri and I were very competitive, and he would always win. You know, and then we
You'd
did
let him
then we did bowling. We tried to raise money through bowling.
Cool.
Yeah.
I did beat him in bowling though. That was pretty exciting. And every year for years, I can't tell you how long, we run the treadmill against each other for the American Heart Association. We'll be doing it again March 6th of this year.
Yep.
And I'm about 125 pounds heavier than he is, but
Yep.
and he's much older than I am. He's an elderly man.
All right.
If he was here, he'd be throwing shots back at me.
Yeah.
So,
Nothing wrong
but
with that.
we're really good friends, and we have a lot in common. Not the political stuff, but
Yeah.
I've known him a long time, but there's you know what I mentioned that there are so many leaders in our community, elected officials. They're awesome people.
Yep.
And it's got nothing to do with political parties or affiliations.
Yes.
They're really good people. Not only do we work together well, but we're from different parties in a lot of cases. And when the real stuff happens, everybody comes together.
Yeah.
We have our
Right.
differences, you know, and that's why, you know, you see all this stuff going on the TV around the nation. It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
But it's not like that here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're proud of that. So hopefully that's something that continues forever. you know?
Yes. Having a differences of opinion and stuff, putting that aside and just being like a real human to human is like it's not common nowadays. So
There's
that's
way
cool.
way more of a gray area.
Well,
than I think.
we're so polarized in
Yes.
this country,
Right.
and if you disagree with someone, you're automatically arch enemies. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
People are losing friendships over political differences, and it's crazy stuff.
It
But
is,
here
yeah.
locally, you know, county executive and I, we're opposite elected parties. I mean, I'm a Democrat, he's a Republican.
Yep.
We work phenomenal together because it's all about doing the right thing for the people of Oneida County.
As it should be.
Exactly,
That's-
You know, Senator Griffo, the same thing. He's a Republican. We work well, phenomenal together. Assemblywoman Buttonshaw, she's the same party as I am. We get, you know what I mean. So the party thing doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But our neighbor, our community, we're blessed that we have people that are in the right spots for the right reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
absolutely.
Sorry about that. I drifted off of
No,
pronouncing my
that's-
name right
we
into
do
that.
that stuff all
You're
the
good,
time.
man.
We
Yeah.
like squirrel and talk about different things all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to kind of just start off, you know, when you first got into law enforcement, and you know, I'll let you kind of steer the conversation as it goes. But you know, because I know you were a volunteer firefighter for years, you were a mayor, and you know.
So I know we had spoken earlier. Growing up, I always wanted to be a farmer.
Yeah.
My mom came from a farm. She didn't like the farm. When she was old enough, she left the farm, moved to Utica, met my dad. My dad had just gotten out of World War II. He was in the Marine Corps, World War II. My parents met. They settled in New York Mills. They got married and purchased their home in New York Mills in the early 1950s.
Okay.
They had 3 children. Actually, 3 children. They had 4, but my mom's first baby passed away at a very young age. Then 2 sisters, my sister Sue and sister Kathy. They're older than me. And then I didn't come along for like, it was 12 years later.
Oh,
I was a
wow.
surprise.
Wow.
Or a
I
mistake,
would say.
surprise, whatever you want to say. But anyways, they settled in New York Mills, but we always went back to my mom's farm where she grew up, holidays, weekends. So I immediately got hooked on the farm stuff. Loved working around the animals, and as soon as I could reach the clutch on the tractor, my uncle was teaching me how to drive a tractor. So I got hooked, wanted to be a farmer. But obviously I didn't live on a farm, so that was kind of difficult. But I ended up working for my uncle on that farm for 6 years. And when I got to the age of 18, graduating from high school, I was like 17, going through my senior year, trying to figure out what I wanted to do in my life. Really didn't know. I knew the farm thing wasn't going to work because, here I am, 17-year-old kid. Yeah, I worked on a farm for 6 years, but I don't have a farm to like
how does that transition
yeah,
to your
how
own
did that
farm?
happen? You can't,
Right.
My God, today if you want to start a farm, you need about $5 million, a real working dairy farm.
Oh, yeah.
So, believe it or not, I got a job in a plumbing store, managing a plumbing store, and didn't know a thing about plumbing, but I learned really quick and I absorbed stuff really well. That's one of my things that I'm pretty proud of. It's like a sponge, I'm a hands-on guy.
Wish I could say the same.
So I was planning to go to college, but I took this job in a plumbing store. Make a long story short, because I could tell you all kinds of stories about the plumbing store. But we had a coffee pot on the counter at the plumbing store, and it was right in the center of New York Mills where I grew up. And that was like in the morning, like the DPW would stop by and they'd get their free coffee from the guy running the plumbing store. Then the police chief would stop by and the fire chief would stop by. It was just like, it was almost like a coffee shop, but it was the counter at the plumbing store. And on Main Street, New York Mills, it was called Mills Plumbing, 582 Main Street. I remember it like it was yesterday. And police chief would come in every day, and still, like I said, trying to figure out what I want to do in my life. And fire chief would come in. I got to be friends with him. I grew up with his kids. And he said, why don't you join the fire department? I said, yeah, why not? How do I join? He said, we got to wait till you're 18. So I got my name on the list. Had to go through an interview process. And it was pretty intense back 40 years ago to get in a volunteer fire department. It's not like that today because everybody needs volunteers.
Right.
But back then, there was actually a waiting list to get in.
How did your parents feel when you were like, that's what I want to do? They're
Wasn't
like,
a
go for
big
it?
deal. Yeah.
Cool.
It wasn't a big deal. And because, it's just, and so I joined the fire department, got in. Back then, they were still running firematics. So I was on the firematics team in the summertime. That was pretty cool. A lot of,
Awesome.
that's actually where I learned to drink under the age of 21 back then. With the firemen, and I joke about that all the time. But anyways, we ran firematic races. I got some basic training back then. It was totally different from what it is today. The fire department, I'll make a long story short, fire department is on the back of it. That was an annex, and that's where the police department was located. So while I'm hanging out at the firehouse all the time, I start to get to know some of the police officers that are there. And now I'm 18 years old. Now I'm really interested in stuff. And, start to get to know some of the cops. And like a year later, I was probably 19 or so, and I started riding around with the cops, and I'm like, this is pretty cool. I go on, I jump in the car at night for a couple hours, and I said, you know what? I think this is what I want to really do. But I was too young, so I started taking civil service tests. I took anyone that would come up from state corrections to local corrections to police officer, deputy sheriff. I was taking them all. So back to because I'm still working at the plumbing store, back to the counter at the plumbing store. I was not quite 20. Police chief comes in and he says, because by now I had gotten familiar with everybody at the police department, small village PD, gotten familiar with everybody. And police chief comes in and he says, we're going to have an opening coming up. He said, would you be interested? And I said, well, I took the civil service test, waiting for the results to come back. Let's see what happens. And he said, all right, well, you're a village resident, and I doubt because because you can call for priority lists, you know,
Okay.
for people that work, so you don't end up with this countywide list. You could see if there's anybody in, like in that case, New York Mills that took the test. And make a long story short again, lo and behold, I got appointed
Cool.
the day after I turned 20 years old,
Wow.
officially.
Wow.
I became a police
Yeah.
officer. So, and off and running. So I worked the streets for about 6 months before I actually went to the police academy.
Okay.
Because the
Yeah.
police academy had already
did the
started.
same. Yeah.
And didn't know a thing about, again, it was so different back then.
What
than it
year
is
would this
today.
been, give or take?
1980, 88 going into 89.
Okay.
89, yeah. 88 into 89.
Which I'm sure law enforcement was the exact same then as now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
And so, like I said, so the academy started. I went through the academy. My starting hourly rate when I got hired in the police department in New York Mills was $5.05 an hour. That's what I
Wow.
was getting paid as a cop.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter to me. I just wanted to be a
Yeah.
cop.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, for a long time I worked 3 to 11s and then 7 to 3s at night, 7 at night till 3 in the
Yeah.
morning. DWI patrols, did a lot of DWI patrols. I got plaques for all the DWI arrests
Yeah.
I made. That was it. I mean, I've immediately fell in love. I said, this is the job that I want, you
Yeah.
know. So while I was working there, I heard that there was a new clerk that started working at the Nice and Easy in Whitesboro, the next village over. It's the only all-night place that you could get coffee at. And I said, oh, I got to go introduce myself. you know.
Mhm.
So I walked in and looked at this girl at the counter, and she immediately looked like someone that I had arrested recently. And I'm not good with first liners or open liners. So
funny.
I looked at her and I said, hey, how's it going? She said, good, how are you? And I said, boy, you look like someone I just arrested. And after I said that, I'm like, what did you just say? I said, oh,
Why would
really?
you say that?
And she said, that was my brother.
Oh.
Okay.
So
That's funny.
so that's how we met.
Yeah.
That was my brother.
Yeah, it was minor. It was nothing serious.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a minor thing, and but yeah, that's how we met. And fast forward to today, we've been this May 21st. It'll be 32 years that we've been married. We've
Awesome.
been together
Wow.
like 37, I think.
Yeah, you don't hear about people being married that long
No,
anymore.
32
Yeah.
years. We
Yeah.
have 3 children. Our oldest, Amanda. Amanda's going to be 30 this summer, but Amanda's a police officer in Utica.
Yep.
She's been on the job almost 10 years, and she's almost halfway through
Awesome.
her career. My middle guy, Robbie's 25. He still lives at home, thank God, because he helps us at home with all
Yeah.
the farm stuff.
Good kid. We
Yeah.
had the opportunity to meet him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Robbie's a
that
good
was
boy. Robbie's a methane gas technician at the landfill in Ava.
Yeah.
And our youngest, Sydney, her and her boyfriend, she just got engaged. And her and her boyfriend, they just bought a house. And so they're doing well. She's a CPS caseworker for Oneida County, working on her
Yeah.
master's degree. So,
Wow.
Okay.
no, we're blessed, you know, and
Yeah.
kids are doing well.
Doing good, yeah.
Yeah.
They all got off to a good start. But we raised our children in New York Mills for a long, long time. Great community. That's where I grew up.
Mhm.
My mom and dad, like I said, raised us there. My mom worked in the school for 35 years. She ran the cafeteria at New York Mills. And
Cool.
my dad worked at General Electric he got out of the war, went to work for General Electric. That was a huge company, and it was a huge staple in our
Yeah.
region back then. He worked there for 40 years. He retired.
Wow.
He had a nice, lengthy retirement, you know.
Nice.
And he, unfortunately, sadly, he passed away like 13 years ago, but he was almost
Yeah.
90 when he passed away.
Aw.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
he had a
Good
great
long
life.
life.
Yep.
Yeah.
My mom, she passed away December 21st, this past December 21st.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, thank you. And she was in a nursing home right down the street from where we are right now, down at Eastern Star. Awesome nursing home. They were phenomenal. And
Great.
my mom, they're beautiful people there.
Oh.
Can't say enough good about them.
Oh, that makes me
But
happy. Yeah.
But anyways, so I grew up in the Mills. When Tammy and I, when we got serious, started dating, eventually got engaged, eventually got married, we settled in New York Mills. We bought our first house in New York Mills around the corner from where I grew up. And that's where we raised our 3 kids there. So I was a police officer in the mills for a little bit. There was a full-time job opening, and I briefly went to the town of Whitestown.
Yeah.
Because there was an opening there, because it paid more money.
They're talking about merging them. Did I see something about
they're talking about doing a study to look into merging. That's been a talk.
Forever.
Police consolidation has been around for as long as I have.
Yeah, okay.
You know, it's
hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah. But so I briefly went to Whitestown, and then I landed a full-time job in Whitesboro, where I stayed for the next almost 22 years after that. It was all because of who was paying more. But I went to Whitesboro as a full-time police officer. I stayed on board at New York Mills part-time.
Okay.
For a long time. So I was part-time in the mills, full-time in Whitesboro. My wife was also working full-time, just trying to raise our family, pay the bills, buy diapers and formula. I can't even imagine what that stuff costs now.
No.
I can't even imagine either.
I can't even imagine.
Nope.
But I know what it cost back then.
Yep.
Yeah.
I worked a side job at National Grid in the security department for years. Okay. So I was moonlighting anywhere I could just to pay the bills and raise the family.
Yep.
But we that worked out extremely well. At some point in time in my career, probably around the age of, it's probably 10 years into being a cop, and I kind of started telling everybody, I said, my goal someday is to be the sheriff. And they're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, right.
There's 62 sheriffs in New York State. I'm sorry, there's 62 counties. There are 57 sheriffs.
Okay.
Because the 5 boroughs in New York City all are a county, but there's only one sheriff of New York City.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or
I didn't know
Probably
that.
didn't even know that,
No.
did you?
No.
There is a sheriff of New York City. Yep.
Huh.
Wow.
Anthony Miranda is the current sheriff of New York City. He's a good friend of mine. So the 5 boroughs make up, but there's 57 sheriffs. And in the country, there's only 3,018 sheriffs across the whole country. So I'm like, I want to be one of those 3,000 people in America. So everybody said, yeah, whatever. So I said, no, I'm telling you, I'm going to make this happen. I am going to make this happen.
I think having that mindset is so damn important too, man.
So
what did your wife think about that?
She thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
She still does whenever I get these ideas. But so she, but she was always, she's been very supportive through all the crazy things I've done. But I needed to get some political experience, elected office experience. So I got this brainstorm to run for mayor of New York Mills. So I was a police officer in Whitesboro. I was part-time police officer in New York Mills, so I had to leave my position as the part-time cop so that I could run for mayor. We worked really hard, a lot of grassroots stuff, knocking on doors, just trying to go in a different direction with our community. Not that there was anything wrong. It was just kind of caught in neutral.
Right.
And we wanted to bring some change. So we worked hard. We got elected. I was elected at the age of 32, mayor of New York Mills. I served in that position for the next 11 years. They were 4-year terms. I got elected 3 times. First term, I ran against the incumbent and won. Second term, I was unopposed. Third term, one of the sitting board members ran against me, but I won. And like I said, it was in that last term as the mayor that I said, you know what, I want to really run for sheriff. So my original plan was to run for sheriff in 2006. But right around that time, we had a situation in our family with one of my parents getting ill, like really ill. And at the same time, there was a proposed power line to come through New York Mills. They wanted to change some power lines. So it was going to so I had to refocus, so I decided, 2006 isn't the time for me. So I'm going to hold off and see what happens in 2010.
Well, it's cool you could make that choice.
Yeah.
Not do too much.
I mean, I had some mentors, political mentors, and they're not around anymore. But you really want to make sure you're going to win if you're going to do something, because
be like all
when you
in.
lose,
right.
It doesn't help for the next time you want to win.
Yeah.
So it's like, but anyways, we held off 4 years, and it was perfect timing because in 2010 the incumbent at the time announced his retirement. So I said, okay, Tammy, this is a go now, because I'm not going to have to run against an incumbent. This is an open seat now.
Yeah.
Now's my chance.
Yep.
It's now or never.
Yep.
So we got a team together. we worked our tails off. I had a great campaign manager, but I was on about 12,000 doorsteps. 12,000
Okay.
Wow.
from June to November.
Yeah.
And we went up. We won. I mean, I don't want to get into all the political stuff we had to deal with, because, but we won, and that was 16 years ago.
Yeah.
So
I had no idea that you were running again this year. It's coincidental,
Yeah.
because I know I told you, but for people that are listening, last time I reached out to you was actually July 17th over the summer, which is when my family faced some tragedy. But we'll get into that stuff in a little bit. But no, that's incredible. I'll let you keep going. I just
no, I don't. I mean, no need to talk about the political stuff, because I don't want to get into politics here in my office.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
So, but no, we got elected to a second term, third term, fourth term.
Cool.
And now I'm running for my fifth term.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Immediately when you're talking, just thinking of some of the questions, and like my first thing goes back to like law enforcement today versus law enforcement when you got into law enforcement. Obviously, there's significant differences.
Yeah.
The social aspect of the way people view law enforcement and stuff, but like, what is the most frustrating thing that you see currently, like in your chair, like with current state versus what it used to be?
Out in the community?
Sure. Yeah.
Lack of respect.
Yes.
Incredible. I'm old school. A few minutes ago, I mentioned my dad was in the Marine Corps. My dad was an awesome guy.
Yeah.
But he just looked at you.
Yeah.
And you knew. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I remember one day I got a parking ticket. I was 17 maybe. It was in New York Mills.
Yeah.
I got a parking ticket. And when I came out, because I stayed over at somebody's house that I shouldn't have, and I came out, and there's this all-night parking ticket on my car, and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to go home and tell my father that I got a parking ticket?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and so I never told him, because I was like petrified. And think about that today. It's like, so I mean, I went and paid the parking ticket, and I never told him.
Yeah.
Not that what's he gonna do to me? But it's like,
Right.
But my point in saying that is, our house was full of love, but it was very structured and it was very strict.
Right.
So you just didn't mess up. I
Yeah.
mean, we had dinner at 5:00.
Yep.
When you got done with dinner, you put your plate in the sink. You know what I mean? And
I think that's one of the biggest issues with today's society is
Yeah.
the lack of family values that starts at
Really.
home, at a childhood, and I
Yep.
think it's
Well, kids are looking at a screen all the time. The screen's parenting the kids, not
I mean,
parents.
I started working for my uncle when I was 12.
yeah.
12.
Kids,
12.
nobody,
Kids don't know what work.
adults
some
don't want to work
yeah.
anymore.
No.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I worked 3 jobs forever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just to make ends meet, because police officers never made a lot of money.
Yeah.
But no, that's probably my most frustrating part.
Yeah.
Because again, I mean, when a police officer walked into, whether it was a bar fight, or a domestic, and I'm not saying in all cases, but in 90% of the cases, it was like, whoa.
Things kind of just chilled when they
Cops
walked
are
in,
here.
right? Yeah. Right.
It's changed so much.
Yeah.
I mean, but when I first started, I had a .357 Magnum.
Yeah.
I had 12 bullets that were on my belt that you actually had to load one at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a pair of handcuffs and a wooden baton that's hanging on the wall over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, that was it. A portable radio that was, oh my God,
Spotty.
It was big. It was like a brick.
You were like,
It was like a brick.
Yeah.
It was a Motorola MT500. I remember it. You could use it as a wheel chock for your car. You could knock on a door with it. I mean,
Yeah.
this portable radio right here. These are our new radios.
Yeah.
Do you know what that cost?
I don't want to know.
Couple grand or something stupid.
$14,000.
What? Jeez, yeah. Wow.
So
Yeah, when you need the line of communication, though, you
Yeah.
need to make sure.
no, but it's
working.
just amazing how
I know.
things have changed.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
a police car, just to buy a police car. Oh no, because we didn't move in here. We just lost our lights.
Good thing
Just
we got
gotta
these
get up and
lights.
stand up.
That's okay.
Is that going to mess
The
things
thing
up?
is,
No,
we
you're
can
good.
crop out anything.
Okay.
We edit this whole entire thing. No worries.
Yeah, the sensors are in there.
That's great.
So police cars, I mean, to buy a police car today is probably close to 60 grand.
Yeah.
And then when you upfit it with the radios and lights and sirens, I mean, you're approaching $80,000 for one car.
Okay, I figured as
Out-
much.
Between what's out front here and what's out back, we have 100 vehicles in our fleet.
Yeah.
Crazy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And,
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I wrote down some things
Yeah.
like beforehand. You know, like one of oh yeah, you mentioned something earlier about there's a line of volunteers. You know, back when you were a kid, and that's not the case today. They're looking for volunteers, and it's like, I think that goes back to kind of like family values. Like people just wanted to be involved in community and help, and it's like,
Yeah, but what's changed? Like, why did people change?
Well, I just think, you know, to answer your question, I don't know, but it's whether it's volunteers not volunteering in their community. You look at high school sports.
yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
yeah,
Everybody's got an 8-man football team.
Yep.
yeah,
If somebody needs a basketball team, they have to pull kids from another school now.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
when I was in high school and when my sisters were in high school, I mean, you had, you know, we were a Class D school. We were a small school, but you had A, B, C, D, E,
Yeah.
multiple teams. I mean, now
Right.
so many schools, they can't even put a team together. They've
Right.
canceled sports.
Yep.
You know, depending on, it's unheard of.
Yeah.
So it kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So many things are changing, and I know electronic devices have really hurt us.
Yeah.
Like I said, a lack of family values.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's not like the electrical like devices. It's the parents that allow their
Yeah.
kids to use
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
devices at
Yep.
any time during the day and night, or when they're out at a restaurant, like they're sitting there watching it instead of
just
talking.
simple little things, and I get
Yeah.
it, but again, I'm old school, so I struggle with it.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
do, because I've been on the job 37 years. I've been
Yeah.
a cop, and you know, even things have changed in policing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Mhm.
You know, if I mean, I was never allowed to have a beard.
Yeah.
I was never allowed to have a tattoo.
Yeah.
If I walked into my house with an earring on, my father, he told me, you ever come in this house with an earring, I will cut your ear off. So I never did. You know what I
Right.
mean? I was afraid to.
Yeah.
And you're never going to ride a motorcycle because I don't want your mother to have to worry about you. So I never got a motorcycle license.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I never
Yeah.
questioned it. My father said no, and that was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But it's so different now.
Mhm.
You know, but
Yep.
What do you think about like with limitations that law enforcement? I mean, especially, I mean, the last few years, you know, the whole, you know, not going political when I say this, but
Sure.
like the whole idea of like the defunding the police
well, it's,
and like,
it depends on parts of the country. I just came back from a conference in Washington, D.C., part of the National Sheriff's Association, where sheriffs from all around the country convene.
yeah,
And there's training, and there's meetings, and there's committee meetings. I was put on a couple committees, but I sat in a committee, and we're talking about working with ICE. Okay, the issue of and the agreements that municipalities and law enforcement agencies have with ICE, they're referred to as 287G agreements. That's what they're called. The state of Maryland recently banned law enforcement agencies from having any 287G agreements with ICE. Okay, so state of Maryland. That's what's being proposed right now here in the state of New York. Same thing.
Okay.
Go to Texas. Texas just passed legislation mandating every law enforcement agency have an agreement with ICE.
Huh.
So it
So-
just depends.
So the
Yeah.
state of Maryland, the state of Texas, same topic, but one is mandating compliance with ICE, and one is prohibiting working with ICE.
Yeah.
The same topic. It just depends on
Yeah.
where you are in the country. But you know, when you look at things have changed so much. Like just talking here in the jail, we have a 632 bed jail.
Yeah.
When I first became the sheriff, it would not be unusual for us to have a daily population of 550 inmates in a 632 bed jail. Today, our numbers are up, but from where they were a few years ago, but our daily average population now is about 325. So at any given time, we have 325 inmates in here.
Okay.
But it's a little bit less, but almost half of what we used to have.
Yeah.
But things that have changed in New York, if we talk about, well, first thing that came through was centralized arraignment.
Yeah.
That's what we have here. So centralized arraignment came through basically to ensure, because what was happening, not here, but in other parts of the state, they felt what was happening is people were being arraigned and committed to jail without any legal representation. So the whole purpose of centralized arraignment is every person arraigned in front of a court has to have an attorney there, present, representing them at arraignment. So basically what that did is and because when then comes along bail reform, And any of these charges that we would typically be able to hold people for, we can no longer hold them for. So our population between centralized arraignment, because in the old days, if you had someone that had multiple suspensions on their license, you could arraign them and their bail would be set on them. So all those are gone. That doesn't happen anymore. If someone's failing to show up in court, you just give them tickets so they continue to fail to show up in court. I guess that's what. But so between centralized arraignment, bail reform, raise the age. That's why we end up with a jail population. And then when COVID kicked in, we actually were below 200 during COVID because there were multiple times when we were not authorized to hold certain classifications, and they couldn't be held here. When bail reform was signed into law by former Governor Cuomo, immediately we could no longer hold people on misdemeanor drug charges. And I had a parent call me, and they were terrified because they knew it happened on a Friday. The governor signed on a Friday. I don't remember the dates, but it was a Friday. And this parent said, "If we're trying to get drug rehab set up, we're trying to get a program in place for our loved one. If they walk out the door, it's going to go south." And I'm like, "There's nothing I can do. On Friday, we literally are letting these people out the door because I can no longer, keep them." I don't even need to tell you where the story ended because I'm sure you can figure out. But it didn't take long. Now the person passed away.
I'll just throw out there for the people that do watch or listen in on just this episode. I lost my sister in 2020. I told you to a drug overdose, or I'll say a battle with drugs. Technically, it wasn't an overdose, but so when it comes to the drug issues in this, especially in this area, it hits at home because we see a lot. Even with her working at the school system and stuff, working with young kids, and a lot of these kids have very difficult home lives. And how do you see the drug issue in the county? Do you see it improving? Do you see? Is it possible that it can improve with the current regulations that are in place?
Our opiate task force, which the county executive started, I co-chair it with him and the district attorney. We have an incredible team of people that come together, not just law enforcement, service providers, nonprofits in the community. It's an amazing group of people. That we've worked our tails off. Overdose fatalities are way down. I mean, there's still too many, don't get me wrong, but we are nowhere near where we were a few years ago.
Awesome.
It's incredible improvement. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Not only, has services and treatment improved greatly, the introduction of Narcan into the community was, it was huge.
Oh yeah, I imagine.
So you could literally arm people with Narcan. Not even law enforcement and first responders, but if families were dealing with someone who was battling addiction, we could give them what they need so that if there is an overdose, they can save their life. And sadly, believe it or not, I've had people reach out to me and say, "What are you doing here? If these people are dumb enough to take an overdose or dumb enough to stick a needle in their arm, then they deserve to die." And I'm like, that is so wrong. I said, you know what? Every person that's going through that battle, that's someone's mother or father, son, daughter, brother, sister.
It's easy to
judge. As I'm the sheriff, our job is to save people. Our job is not to judge. Our job is to save people. So our deputies carry Narcan. Our SPOs that are in schools carry Narcan. Our task force, we place Narcan in these secure boxes that anyone has access to, but in all kinds of public places. We work with nonprofits, actually working with the homeless out on the streets. So we've come so far. People have to, you know what I mean? And people say that they've never dealt with, they've never gone through something or have a loved one that have gone through something. But it's very disappointing for me to hear people when they say stuff like that.
That's crazy because, if someone goes through that could be their wake-up call.
Absolutely. And you know what? And there's times when there's been multiple saves on the same person because they may not get that wake up message the
Right.
first time or the second time.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
But who can give up on them like that? That's so sad
Exactly.
that people could.
and like I
not
said,
care.
that's someone's loved one
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And so it's just,
Yeah.
and it would surprise you as to who takes that approach. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it
It's
is.
like, really, I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but then you tell people like that. What if it's like your daughter or your son? Would you just want people to not care?
Exactly.
Probably
Yeah.
not.
Exactly.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so we've come a long way. There's a lot of work left to do. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, because we can't arrest our way out of that problem.
No.
I mean, but it is still an important component of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a joint narcotics team here at the Sheriff's Office with the Utica Police Department.
Yep.
I've also deputized surrounding agencies like the Madison County Sheriff's Office. We cross-deputize people. So we're all working together.
Yeah.
Our Crime Analysis Center is incredible. Someday I'll have to maybe get you guys in to check it out. It's at the
Yeah.
Utica Police Department. It's a
Okay.
real-time crime center.
Cool.
That's technology that they have in there is incredible.
Phenomenal.
But we're all in the other program that we developed through our opiate task force. When someone overdoses, law enforcement, and we've expanded into healthcare and EMS, because a lot of times there are many times when law enforcement may not be on the scene at all.
Yeah.
You know, and someone walks in the ER with an overdose victim, but all of the information is then put into a database, right? And it's called OD mapping. It's a database, and what happens is we can trend, we can watch the data and see what's happening, but also at the same time, there are peers, people who have fought addiction and who successfully fought off addiction. They will actually make an appearance and reach out to these people. No law enforcement, just the peers, certified peers, knock on the door and say, hey, I'm here to help if you want the help. Not everybody takes it, but we've had several success stories there too. So
that's
you get
amazing.
that peer will get them in. So those are all the things that we're doing to try to get a handle on that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating because, you know, we spent years and years, and I don't even know, millions, billions of dollars across this country, educating people not to smoke tobacco.
Why did they get rid of DARE? You know, immediately.
I was a DARE instructor for
Yes.
6
I
years
know you
in
were.
the Whitesboro School
Right.
District.
I
taught
thought
DARE
it
for
like
6 years.
I remember as a kid, man.
When I was
of
younger,
course,
we had it.
100
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
But why did they get rid of it? Did they not
Well, I
deem
think
it
a
efficient?
couple things. I think funding was always an issue, you know, for the law enforcement agency. But at the same time, it has changed a lot. But for a while, I think DARE was its own worst enemy because there weren't updates to the curriculum.
Okay.
I taught it for 6 years, and
Yeah.
it never changed.
Yeah.
I mean, after the second year, I didn't even need my teaching materials anymore because I had
Yeah.
it all memorized. You know what I mean? The different lessons and everything.
Right.
And actually, do you remember Dare Bear? Did you remember Dare Bear?
A little bit, maybe.
So, yeah. So,
Well, I did have a question about the Narcan though. Like,
Yeah.
if a family member is struggling, how would the family? Is it hard? Like, can you get Narcan?
oh, yeah.
Like
it's
anybody
free.
can get it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I think important for
You can get
people
it
that
from
don't know
pharmacies.
that. Okay.
Pharmacies, we can get it for them.
Okay.
We can get it for them.
That's the DARE Bear.
Well,
Dare
this
Lion.
is the Dare Bear, and
Okay,
then we
yeah.
advanced into Dare and the Dare Lion.
I do remember those.
These are literally these are from when I was teaching back in the early
Oh my gosh.
1990s.
30 years ago.
But it was like an
Amazing.
icebreaker. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was an
Yeah, for
icebreaker for
sure.
the kids. And,
Yep.
you know,
Kind of makes it a little less scary.
Yeah,
As
you
like
know, 'cause,
that, you know, it's a
you know,
serious subject.
I taught Dare to 12-year-old kids, you know, so you
Yeah.
got this 6'3", 275-pound
Yeah.
guy coming in your classroom. But and no one could pronounce my name back then either.
Yeah.
So they just called me Officer Rob
Yeah.
because they couldn't say Maciol, so it was
Well,
just
it kind
easier.
of like sucks
But-
that that's not really going anymore because you want to start young,
man.
you know,
Like
because
Some schools still have it. There are,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's only a couple. There,
Okay.
I just saw something on social media. They had a graduation, but see what had happened in the schools. I don't know if we want to drift into that topic yet, but what happened with schools, we started to see an uptick in school violence, school
Okay.
shootings.
Mm.
Obviously, Columbine was the first one,
Yeah.
but then there was a gap for several years. But then they started popping up like crazy.
Okay.
And then in 2017, Parkland shooting was because what had happened. We had SROs in several schools. There was federal funding that was paying for the SROs, and the funding went away, so a lot of the schools had to do away with them. Some of the schools kept them, even though there wasn't funding. Like I'll give you an example: Whitesboro was one of the ones that kept their SRO, and it was probably 2015. I'm going to say. The Whitesboro superintendent at the time reached out to me and said, we have this SRO, but we really want to bump up our security because we're concerned about, violence going on around the country and stuff.
Yep.
So we agreed to eliminate the SRO, and instead of hiring a full-time person, I could hire several part-time people just to do security. Because the SRO, mind you, is doing, counseling and working with the kids, and the drug stuff and stranger danger at Halloween and things like that. But we wanted to take an approach of let's maybe focus on securing the building. Yeah. And that was a trend that was happening across the country. So 2017 hits, Parkland shooting, that was a bad one. County executive reached out and said, we got to get cops in all our schools in the whole county. And I said, well, there's no grants out there. How are we going to do this? So he said he was willing to put $500,000 on the table. We would pay for half of the cost of school security for any school district that wants to come on board for 3 years. Okay. And on the 4th year, they'd have to pick up the cost. So we put a program together. I went out. I literally visited every single school district in the county. School board meetings, presentations, meeting with superintendents. We started off with 14 SPOs. They're called Special Patrol Officers. It's a job title, a job title under general municipal law for retirees of police or police officers or peace officers. So we could hire retired deputies, troopers, police officers, parole, probation, or corrections. Yep. And so we went out. We started hiring people. We started off, like I said, in Whitesboro, and then it quickly advanced to several other schools.
Was there a lot of people that wanted to do it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
good.
and a lot. So as of
They
today,
seem like the ones that I've seen and I've met, they all seem to enjoy their
yeah,
job.
Oh, yeah,
as
for
of
sure.
today, I have 121 people in that school security unit.
Nice.
So
Wow.
started with 14. Now it's 120.
That's amazing.
And
yeah.
the schools are all paying the bill. They're paying, they're all retirees, so they're not paying benefits and retirement. You're just paying an hourly rate for these people to be in the building. Yeah. And so we, like I said, we have 120 people in that unit now. We are in every single school district in Oneida County, except for a couple. So like New York Mills has an agreement with their own police department. Oriskany has one with their own police. Rome and New Hartford have one with their own police, but we are in every other school district. Cool. In Utica, we're in the 10 elementary schools, and Utica PD handles the middle school and the high school. And we are in every other school district in the whole county.
That's awesome.
So, but the only drawback to that is we're focusing on keeping the inside secure from the outside. Yeah.
Right.
So we don't have a lot of interaction with the kids, even though they do. They do. But we're not. We have three districts that still have both these SPOs and the traditional SROs. So we have Westmoreland, who still has an SRO on top of our security, and so do both BOCES, Verona and New Hartford.
Yep.
So we still do that in some of the districts, but it's just the problem is cost. And but we're very proud of. I mean, our school security is at levels it's never ever been at, and we can proudly say that every single school district in this county has a law enforcement person in their building. The only thing that's going to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Yeah. That's a quote from the NRA. I'm stealing it. I'm an NRA member. Yeah. But like I said, that's the only thing that's going to stop. Unfortunately, it's not a matter of if that's ever going to happen again. It's when and where. Yeah. Everybody just needs to be prepared for that. So,
I thought you were going to say something, so I didn't want to give out.
I don't know.
Shifting gears a little bit. So this quote was attributed to the Seneca. No man is more unhappy than he who has not faced adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. And when I read that today, by the way. It made me think, a question for you is, it's going to be kind of like a 3-part question. But first of all, what was your first hard day on the job that changed your perspective forever? Then I'll go, if you want to share, this is up to you. What was your hardest day on the job? And then just going into the mental health aspect of it, because I say, a lot of people when they hear the word PTSD, they attribute it to military. But I would say, and I may be wrong when I say this, but I believe when it comes to who has seen more violence and horrible things, I would say first responders as a whole sees a lot more than the average soldier. But again, I will start at your first day that changed you that you can recall.
Well, obviously those two questions, it's going to be the same incident for me. Okay. Brand new sheriff. It was 2011. Just a few months on the job, and I was actually at a town board meeting I was at the town of Verona. Yeah. Speaking to the board about how things were going at the sheriff's office. I was making my rounds And I left there. I left there. I was gassing my police car up, and I heard a call. I heard him sending one of our deputies. Deputy Wyman was being sent to a domestic dispute down in Knoxboro, southern part of the county. Heard that call on the radio. Didn't really think much of it. Heard him sending another car to back him up. Not unusual.
Yeah.
Finished fueling up my car. Got home. Got a phone call that it looks like it's turned into a standoff again. And so personnel were being deployed there. I eventually got down there. Again, make a long story short, things went bad at the call, and shots rang out, and Deputy Wyman was shot and killed right there. Yeah. So by far, that was the worst day of my career ever. The agency hadn't experienced a loss in the line of duty in a long, long time. I had never experienced that. I mean, so talk about things going through your head, man. Oof.
Yeah.
Because obviously we had to deal with that tragedy that's happening at that moment.
Yeah.
You've got to make notifications to the family. You still have a whole county that's in need of police services.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got an agency that has to go through the mourning process.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got to do everything we can to help the family. Like I said, we still have to provide services. You got to put a criminal case together for the person that took his, that killed Deputy Wyman. Man, it was just a lot. It was a lot. I'll never forget it. I left there. I left the scene it was the wee hours of the morning. Notification had been made by members of the sheriff's office to his family, and his wife went into labor that day. And, I mean, there was just a lot happening there. I'll never forget. I went home. I took a shower. I don't even think I had a conversation with my wife because I didn't even know. I'm like,
how do you process?
Like, it didn't seem real.
Yeah.
I came in the back because when I pulled in, I'll never forget it. I came in the back, and because when I pulled up out front here, all I remember is like there was probably only 4 or 5 of them, but it seemed like there was 50 of the media trucks with the big masks up in the air. Like I said, there was probably literally 4 or 5, but it seemed like 50.
Yeah.
So I went around through the back, through the jail. I came in the back, and I came in this office, and I closed these curtains. And literally, that's the last time these curtains were ever closed. Because I'm like, a lot's going on. I'm a brand new elected official.
Right.
Got to hold the agency together.
Yeah.
Got to help the family. Got to help the people here that work here.
Yeah.
So it's like you're
got
trying
a criminal
to...
case to get together.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, I know I did sleep, but it felt like you hadn't slept for like months after that. Obviously, you did, but anyways, I remember closing these curtains, and I'm like, I don't even know what to do. You know what I mean? I don't even know what to do.
Yeah.
So I have a couple close friends who I don't call on them often.
Yeah.
You know, and I said, hey, I need some help here.
Yeah.
Not physically help.
Yeah.
I need some help processing things that are going on in my head right now, you know?
Yeah.
And because I have a job to do. I'm the sheriff.
Yeah.
We got to lead this agency. We got to plan for a funeral. We've got to work on there was just so many things happening. And I can't not tell you how amazing that the police community came together. I mean, it was incredible.
That was
incredible.
Throw in there.
Incredible.
That was my first day working as a police officer for Boonville. Was that detail for Kurt Wyman's motorcycle ride.
Yep.
And actually, I volunteered that day. It was shortly before I got hired on, and I'll never forget that, man. That changed me.
So there's so many things that stand out. We could talk 2 hours about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, Kurt's picture's on my desk.
Yeah.
It's been there since that day, or since that time. Everybody wears KBW pins on their uniform.
Yeah.
That's for Kurt. The Board of Legislators named the building in Kurt's honor. If you look up Deputy Kurt B. Wyman Law Enforcement Building, and you know, and there was so many different things. I could tell you so many stories about how this community helped. It was just unbelievably amazing. The Wyman family, they're awesome people, beautiful people.
Yeah,
they really are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we were lucky enough to go to their house and sit and talk with them.
Yeah,
really amazing people. You know, we do a remembrance ceremony here every year on that day, and the family always comes out strong for that, and the community and friends and colleagues. And
we had Dave only introduced us to them. This again, I know I already told you this, but for the listeners, Dave only introduced us to both Lynette and Brian, which is Kurt's parents, because, you know, we've went through an unimaginable tragedy, you know, back last summer, and they do a grief share, and you know, I just do a little shout out to them because we went to what's called Surviving the Holidays, because, you know, navigating holidays when you have fresh loss, you know, there's no textbook answer on how you're going to do that. However, when you're able to get the empathy and, you know, just talk to some other people that are navigating similar or just trauma as a whole,
makes you feel a little less alone.
Yeah.
Not that you want anyone to understand your feelings, but you know,
but we're all human.
Yeah.
You know, whether you wear a badge or not, you know, we all go through hard days.
And you know, like I said, it's there's a list a mile long of people that I would have to thank. You know, just so many stories. I mean, just to give you one, captain of the state police at the time, captain of the uniform patrol was Frank Coots. Frank actually ended up becoming a major before he retired with the state police, but because that day he reached out immediately reached out, and they sent a whole bunch of troopers to Oneida County so that they could handle all the calls for service, so that we could deal with all the things going on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Right? Wow.
But the thing that really stands out about Frank, because Frank lives in a neighboring county, in Onondaga County. And I share this story all the time, so I'm glad I can say it again, because we are extremely close friends, and I never knew him that well prior to that day. But for 2 weeks, he came to this office every morning with 2 cups of coffee plus his own, one for me and one for my undersheriff at the time, who has since retired, just see how we were doing. You know what I mean? So.
It's that real human connection, that real,
you know, there was no mandate to do that, no requirement to do that, but he just wanted to make sure that we were, you know, and we were good, you know, and we made it through that day, probably the most difficult press conference. Plus, I hadn't done, it might have been maybe my second press conference, and probably the first one was about something positive. You know, and so I opened these blinds, and I've never closed them since. So that's why I blocked those right open. So hopefully I never have to close them again. But it's just a horrible thing to have to go through. We had his funeral at the auditorium, the Utica Auditorium.
Okay.
It was huge, massive. Yeah, it was really a beautiful ceremony.
Yeah, he's a Marine Corps veteran as well. You know, I believe he just got back from deployment within a year or so, give or take.
Yep. So the last time that I saw Kurt before that, he was in our honor guard.
Okay.
And he marched in the Memorial Day parade in New Hartford at the end of Memorial Day weekend. So it would have been like about 10 days before that.
Wow.
Maybe 10 days before that. So I have a picture of that honor guard in my other office, because I have an office in the courthouse in Utica too. And so that picture hangs over my desk there. It's the honor guard. Actually, Dave Only, I believe, is driving the state police car that's with us in that parade. I'm pretty sure Dave was in that car. And
is that old school car?
It was flat top, the 1D82 maybe or something. He wrote all his,
some pictures
I think he wrote all his traffic tickets out of that car.
Oh, okay.
So every Memorial Day parade since then in New Hartford, Kurt's family stands in the same spot because they watched him in that parade that year. So they're in that same spot every year. And ironically, my wife was just down from them in that same spot, that parade, 10 days before he was killed. And so ever since then, my wife and Kurt's family we're at that same spot, the Memorial Day Parade, when I turned from Genesee Street onto, I think it's Pearl Street, maybe, I'm not sure, the other side street, but they're right there. And yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah. But obviously that following year was difficult, going through the trial and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then we did an after-action review to find out what went wrong and what do we do in the future, and to plan for things. And that report's out there. It's available for viewing.
Yep.
And yeah. So, and what was your third question? I know I covered.
Oh no, just it was kind of, you were kind of touched upon it, like even coming back here and closing your blinds and reaching out to your two friends, just the mental health aspect of what
people
law
don't talk
enforcement.
about it a lot.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, it's probably not healthy, I'm gonna say, but I keep a lot in.
Yeah.
I don't. Obviously, it's not a good thing. But I was taught by some old school people.
Yeah.
I remember getting screamed at by a supervisor of mine, and I won't say who it is, but at one of my first jobs, because I was on a call, and I asked for additional backup because I had a problem. And after that call was over, I got screamed at because I embarrassed him because I called for help. And I'm like, but that's how things work. You know what I mean? That's how policing. Thank God it's changed since then.
Yeah.
But talk about.
Wow.
Yeah.
A
Oh yeah.
little hard.
Yeah. You embarrassed me because you called for help. I'm like,
yeah, but
I was
what
getting
if
my ass kicked? What am I supposed to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, but anyways, so you look at that, and I mean, there's been lots of different things that have happened here that probably the everyday person could never handle even looking at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is there someone in this building that helps the officers?
So we have a peer support team.
Yeah.
We have trained people, colleagues here. County also has a contract with Center for Family Life and Recovery. We also have a Cortico app. We still got a lot of work to do, but
do they utilize it like the officers utilize
they,
people
they
that are
do,
here?
but cops are a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's probably similar with the military too.
Yeah.
And but we're always looking at ways to improve that. Actually, we met with a mental health commissioner today, and just trying to work with them to try to make things to improve things. So that's definitely a priority for us.
Yep.
And because there's, like you said, there's so many things here, from suicides in the jail to making notification. I remember we had a horrific, fatal boating accident where our whole family was bad. But there's just been so many. Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how many.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where people process things differently.
Yeah.
That's why I think my outlet is my farm and home.
I was literally just gonna say.
I'm telling you, there's nothing like. It's tough this time of year, but you guys come back in the nice weather.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing like climbing on my tractor on a July day, putting my headphones on, and mowing hay for 7 or 8 hours, and all you smell is fresh cut grass.
Yeah.
Talk about cleansing your head.
Just going to see the donkey or the cows would do it for me.
Yeah.
I would be so
that was
happy out
awesome.
there all day long with them.
Yeah, but they can test you too. So.
I bet.
It was different. It is different seeing, because I've only ever seen you, the law enforcement side of you and parades and stuff like that. Never talked to you before until then, but seeing the farm aspect, it's cool. Cause
I think it's pretty unique, because I think a lot of times people think officer, or, sheriff, mayor, whatever. They see that and then they're like, a farmer?
Yeah.
What?
You gotta. Well, people watch these TV shows like Yellowstone and stuff. That's not reality.
Yeah.
I've been knee deep and you know what, and things are breaking, and but we enjoy it. We don't travel. Tammy and I really don't travel a lot. We did have a camp for a long time. We had a camp for 17 years up on the St. Lawrence River, but when we got this bright idea to buy a farm, we had to sell the camp to
Right.
you know, to do the farm
So
thing.
how long in your career were you both like, all right, let's do this farm thing?
So I don't know if I told you, but my wife's quick history on farming. My wife grew up in Utica. She had a lot of things that she was dealing with as a child. Her upbringing was very challenging. She was taken out of the home at a young age and placed in a foster home, which most people think, oh my God, that's terrible. And that was probably the best years of her childhood. She was placed in a foster home on a working dairy farm.
Okay.
So it's kind of ironic. When I was working for my uncle on a farm as a young kid, she's living in a foster home on a farm on the opposite end of the county. And so when we met in our 20s, after I had my dumb opening line with her there,
yeah, that was awesome.
her brother, we quickly learned we had this farm thing in common. So we would always, on the weekends when we were dating and before we had kids, we'd always go up to my uncle's farm. I'd show her where I worked all those years. And he had a big gravel pit, so I'd take her shooting. We'd go shooting in the gravel pit on the farm. And those were our dates, you know, things like that. But so we always knew we wanted a farm. We're trying to raise our kids. We want to get our kids settled. We want to get them off on their own, you know. So financially, we're like, there's no way we can buy a farm. But in 2010, we bought the farm in 15. About 2012, we started seriously thinking, if we're going to do something, we got to do it.
Yeah.
And so we looked for a couple of years. We just couldn't. The farms we loved, we couldn't afford.
Yeah.
The farms we could afford, they were like rough.
Yeah.
Like rough.
Yeah.
Like Little House on the Prairie rough.
Yeah.
It's like, we can't live here.
No.
And but it's just, well, you know, it's odd how things happen.
Yeah.
We literally were at a fish fry
Yeah.
in Holland Patton, and someone there said, hey, are you looking for a farm? And I said, yeah. And they said, hey, go up and see so-and-so. They're talking about selling their farm. So we drove up there, and the husband and wife were out back raking leaves, pulled in, never met them in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not far from the farm I grew up with. So I had been by this farm, just never knew the people. And we went in the backyard, introduced ourselves, and then I said, farm for sale? And they said, nah, not yet, but yeah, we're going to sell it. I said, well, you interested? And they showed us around.
Mm-hmm.
We went back, sat around the campfire out back with these people, and we
Awesome.
made them an offer, and they said, yeah, we'll take it.
Wow, that's cool.
I'm like, oh my God, now
Really?
we got to sell our house now.
Yeah.
So
wow.
we put our house immediately on the market. And as my luck usually goes, couldn't sell our house. We had to close on the farm because they were getting itchy. So I had 2 mortgages going for about 4 months.
Oh, that's fun.
We did a ton of work on our old house in New York Mills. It was a gorgeous house. It was an old mill house where the executives lived in the mills.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Because it was when the old factories were running. It was incredible woodwork inside, and we remodeled the whole thing. And so we lost a lot of money when we sold it, but I had to sell it.
Yeah.
So we sold it for a lot less than we wanted to. But it was our fault because we overinvested. We put, you know, you put money into a house, you made the house so expensive, but nothing else in the neighborhood. You're never going to get that money out of it.
Right.
I mean, if you're going to live there for the rest of your life, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we just
Yeah.
got this brainstorm to get a farm. And
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look at you now.
Yeah.
It's a perfect farm. And
I'd be probably a rich guy if I didn't have that farm.
Yeah. Oh man, coming on actually, we're right on an hour. This is good.
So just a little history on the sheriff's office, if I could.
yes,
Sure.
please.
So the sheriff's office began in 1798.
Okay.
There was one sheriff, and he rode a horse, and he had 2 jail cells.
All right.
So fast forward to today, there's 540 people that work for me total. We have 632 cells, not 2. We don't have any horses.
I was going to ask if you
Yeah.
ride a horse in the parade or anything.
No, we want to get them back. That's always been a goal of ours. Actually, when I came in, it's one of the things I had to do was shut that down. I can talk about that in a second. But it's about a $60 million operation now to run the sheriff's office.
Wow.
It's it's huge. We have the 9th largest jail in the state out of all the sheriff's offices. Our law enforcement division is, I mean, literally, we have all the divisions. I mean, we have incredible men and women that work here. In the law enforcement division, we have our traditional stuff, but we have, we have a full-fledged drone unit, forensics, snowmobiles, boats, school security, bike patrols. I mean, we've like I said, in our criminal investigation unit, we have a warrants unit, we have a narcotics unit, we have. I mean, it's everything, The jail's like a miniature city. Full-time medical unit, kitchen. There's recreation yards. I mean, anything that happens, and it happens there. We have mental health services in there. We have school classes in there. Pre-COVID, we had like the second highest success rate with our GED program in the jail.
Cool.
Okay.
So our goal here is to, it's difficult for county jails because our population's transient. They come and they go a lot.
Yeah.
But when we get someone that's sentenced, because we have two types of inmates, sentenced and unsentenced. If someone's sentenced to prison or jail time less than a year or less, they do it with us. If they're sentenced to a year or more, they go to state prison.
Yep.
Actually, I just
That's pretty
talked to
much
him
how
about that in
that
the
works.
car. I didn't know the
Yep.
time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Typically, but there are times when we'll get back-to-back one-year sentences, so someone may be with us for a couple of years. We do house about 50 inmates from the U.S. Marshals Service here. Some of them are long-term, so we'll have them for years. They're federal inmates, though. But we try to get them on the right path, so they can leave here and be productive members of society.
Yep.
We have great programs unit back there. They try to do a ton of stuff with them. Give you an example, like Christmas time, we have a competition amongst the inmates that are artists to design a
nice.
Christmas card for the year. So
that's cool.
we pick a Christmas card. It's done by the inmates. We have a small foundation. We pay for the cards to be sent out to everybody that, like our local elected officials and businesses that we deal with all the time. We send out Christmas cards.
So what do they
other
get for
sheriff's
winning?
offices.
Do they get
Other than the
a meal or
recognition?
something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Yep.
if it was like,
Yep.
Okay.
But now, like all the inmates, things have changed in the jail. Inmates all have iPads, tablets, so they can do emails and they can watch TV on their tablets. They're prepaid. It's a way for us to
Okay.
raise revenue. But the revenue we raise from the inmates, whether it's phone calls or tablet time, goes into a commissary account, and it can only be used for stuff for the inmates. So
Okay.
that's how we buy their microwaves and their furniture and the televisions. It's basically with their own money type of thing. Meals on Wheels, like the seniors around the county that get the Meals on Wheels delivered, all the Meals on Wheels are produced here in the facility. So that's kind of cool.
Never knew that.
Yeah. Most people don't know that. The
Yeah.
inmates don't cook the food. They just do all the prep work, the loading and the unloading and the cleaning of the dishes and stuff like that. But the company that makes our jail food, they actually make the county's Meals on Wheels, so that works out pretty well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Our civil division, that's our smallest division, they're charged with doing like court-ordered evictions, court-ordered sales. They serve subpoenas, orders of protection, transport juveniles, all that stuff. Civil does that. School security unit, I know I mentioned that. Then we have an incredible civilian staff here too.
Oh, cool.
All the budget people and the HR people. Because with that many employees, there's that large of a budget. There's a lot of moving parts. So it's a
Definitely.
crazy place. It's not like it was in 1798.
Right. Was there any time where you're just like, I mean, I'm sure you have like on days and off days like anybody else, but were you ever like, what am I doing? Or did you just,
Yeah. Well, you get those days.
yeah.
500 people. We deal a lot with personnel issues from time to time.
Yeah.
Not to mention the stuff that's going on out in the community.
Yeah.
Not to mention the problems that come from the inmates in the jail. It's like I said, at the end of the day, no one wants anything to happen to anybody in our custody, but jail suicides are a thing that happen in every jail.
Right.
We do everything we possibly can to prevent them. We have mental health services, constant watch posts, all that stuff, but it still happens, unfortunately.
Out of your control, you do
Those are
everything you
difficult
can
calls to
help.
make too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moving parts back there. We work incredibly well with other police agencies like the Utica Police Department. We have a joint SWAT team, joint narcotics, joint dive team. They're going to be joining our drone team. We joint warrants team, our warrants task force. There's so many things. We put deputies in the city. Anytime the deputies want to work, we try to get people there every night, but they ride with Utica PD under it's called the GIVE program, Gun Involved Violence Elimination. So they work together, and 70, 80 guns a year are taken off the streets in Utica, the bad guns. Because I'm a gun guy, I'm a pro gun guy. But
It's a lot.
Yeah. So there's a lot of moving parts that most people don't even know about. But there's incredible people that work here. They do
The
an
unseen
awesome
stuff
job.
that we don't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
People don't realize, like, some people that might, like, hate the cops or whatever, they do until they need you.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like,
But
it's crazy.
yeah, our mounted patrol, real quick, because I know I mentioned that. When I came in, there had been an incident the year before I was a sheriff where some people had gotten hurt by the horses at a public event. And the county, unfortunately, they were going through some litigation over that.
Yeah.
So we had to shut that program down at that time. And we're hoping to get it back someday. But but that binder right next to you, that's the original Sheriff's Horse Patrol in there.
We'll have to look through
pretty
it.
cool. Yeah, you have to look through it after.
That's awesome.
But
Cool.
I think what else I got here. That's my grandson. My man Lincoln.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
On a
Lincoln is
tractor.
awesome.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Lincoln's going to be 2 in 2 weeks. So
Sweet.
Amazing.
yeah.
What
so-
is like one of the coolest things that like anyone gave you that you like collect? That's just like kind of unique. I mean, I know there's so much, but
There's a
I didn't know if there was
story
something
around
that stuck out.
everything. So the airplane, the
Mhm.
F-14 or 15. So long time ago, I was a brand new cop. I got sent to a domestic dispute. There was a kid there going through some issues with his mom, and kind of took him under my wing.
Oh.
Michael, good kid. He just had a lot of built-up anger,
Yeah.
and Michael kept getting himself in trouble. Never anything serious, just like he was headed that way, though.
Yeah.
So I said, Michael, you really need to, like, we gotta do something with you because you're gonna end up in a bad place here at some point. So I convinced him to go into the military, and it's like, this ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. So he agrees to go into the Air Force. He went through his basic training. I flew down to Texas. I watched him graduate at Lackland Air Force Base. And he did a full career in the military, in the Air Force. He retired as a crew chief. He was the mechanic on that plane.
Okay.
So he gave that to me as a gift after.
All right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my wedding, we got married in 1994, but Michael had flown home and surprised us at our wedding.
Cool.
Wow.
I'd love to reconnect with him. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah.
I saw him once, and he was going through some difficult times. And I said, hey, just reach out sometime. We can talk. But he chose not to, So hopefully he's good, whatever he is. I don't know what he's doing. I haven't heard.
Know.
But so that's probably one of my. I mean, there's a story behind every one of these crazy things. That's a trophy. We won a tug of war contest.
Okay.
Yeah, the sheriff's office. We put a team together. It was great.
Cool.
But a lot of different awards that I got, and geez, I don't even know. There's so many things.
That's cool.
But
I'll get some nice slow motion.
this was my round 2, and like I was telling you
Round
before,
two.
we took this. The office had to be cleansed once from so many things. The fish, caught that fish, December 11th of 2009.
Yeah.
I think it's huge.
It's just outside of Clayton. I've always wanted. My goal my whole life was to catch a muskie because my dad was a big fisherman. I fished St. Lawrence River, Oneida Lake for years growing up.
How many inches is that?
That is 50 inches, 40 pounds. Because to be legal, they got to be 48 inches.
Okay.
We were out there
Oh, wow.
4 days before the season was closing.
Yeah.
It was snowing. It was like 20 degrees. It was snowing. We're out in a boat, and I thought I grabbed the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, we're trolling.
Yeah.
And so reel it in, and this thing is coming up. It's huge, right? My daughter Amanda was just a little girl then, and the thing is huge. And he starts rolling, and he wraps himself around the fishing line, and the lure comes out of his mouth, and I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
But luckily, we were able to get the net in there
Mm-hmm.
and get him into the boat. We got him untangled. We had a picture taken with me and my dad. My dad was still alive then. Me and my dad and my daughter Amanda,
Awesome.
and we released the fish. So that's a replica.
Oh, okay.
Good
Yeah,
for you.
but the
That's
company
cool.
that did it, they do amazing work.
Yeah,
There's like a
clearly.
red blotch towards the back.
Yeah, I see that.
He must have been bit at one time in his life, but that's how detailed they were.
Oh
They
my
even had
gosh.
that in there. So they
Wow.
based it off of pictures of us with a
Okay.
ruler next to him. We had to measure the girth,
So
the
cool.
length, and we had to have photo proof.
Yeah.
And so
That's cool.
Yeah, it was done at a company out of Canada, and it was
That's pretty amazing.
took a long time for it to come, and I called, and we found that it was held up in customs, and they're like, well, we're checking it. They're checking it to make sure it's legal size. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense because it's a replica. So I technically I could probably make it any size I wanted to.
Yeah.
And but in the end, we learned that apparently they had to open it to check it for contraband. Someone might have put something in it, you know, to contraband.
You never know.
But when it got delivered to the house, it came in a pine box. It looked like a miniature casket on my front porch. And I remember pulling it, and I'm like, what is that? And it was our fish.
Cool. That's really awesome.
It was in my mayor's office, and then that made it to, I brought it up here when I came up here. Rob Esch is a very good friend of mine, founder of the Utica Comets.
Okay.
So he gave that to me as a gift.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one night when it was a sheriff's night, and so that was pretty cool.
Cool.
Those are some different awards I got through my career. They're kind of scattered all around here. Yeah, but
you're gonna lose wall space.
Yeah, we'll probably have to cleanse it again someday. But
man, I appreciate this opportunity. It's good to get to know you a little bit.
Absolutely,
and this is cool, man.
If you ever want to do another one at a different place, we can,
absolutely.